All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy today, and it is Valentine's Day, and we have guests with us here in the studio. We have a beautiful lady and, of course, a gentleman with us here in the studios.
Exactly, and of course, because we're looking at Valentine, we decided, or we thought that it's best to have a marriage and relationship therapist as well as a counselor. And so we have Dimma Umobi, a marriage and relationship therapist, and Bamidele Agbogun, a counselor. Good morning and welcome to Galaxy today.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is also a pleasure to have you here.
Okay, there's this, I don't know what to call it, but everybody is going haywire when it comes to Valentine. And I think for me, Valentine is like Christmas. It's something that should be done every day. But maybe there's a bit of misconception about Valentine. Your Honor, Peter, how would you describe or define Valentine? Let's start with the lady. So ladies first.
Okay. Like you said, Valentine is an expression of love, and it's not restricted to only the 14th of February. Love should be expressed every day. And then for me, love is a decision. And that decision is you making a choice to be support to someone. For some people, Valentine is seen as that period where you have to send roses, you have to do flowers and gifts, and it's okay. But beyond that, I think that Valentine is a reminder for you to assess how much of a support you have been to your loved one. And one question I ask people to ask their loved one on a day like Valentine is, what is dying in you because you're married to me? If your spouse can honestly answer that, then you can assess how much you have been of support, because what is love without support?
I like that. How about you?
Yeah, what is it to you?
Okay, I share the same view with you. For me, Valentine is actually a day that is set aside to remind us of the need to show care, love, and affection to people. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I asked myself, I'm a father of 3, and I know on their special days, when you talk about their birthdays, there's a special celebration about them. But does that mean it's a one-off thing? I'm saying this just to buttress your earlier introduction. It's not just a one-off thing. It should be a daily affair, because my love for my children is unquestionable, and we just make that particular day a special one. Fine, the acts are okay, the sharing of roses, the buying of gifts and the rest like that, but it should go much beyond that.
It should go. But the thing is that let's even talk, okay, aside from married people now, let's talk about people who are not married, the singles, you know, because they seem to be almost too overblown by this particular day, Valentine's Day, and a lot of hearts have been broken. A lot of people get very gloomy today. A lot of people feel very excited. A lot of people ordinarily do things they don't do because they just want to, you know, keep up with the Joneses. Now, let us talk to somebody here who is not married. To what extent should Valentine's Day go?
Okay. Valentine's Day is just that we do not have statistics in Nigeria to see the extent of damage that Valentine has done to some people. For some other advanced countries that have statistics, it's been shown that Valentine is one of the times that people get pregnant, especially unwanted pregnancy. And I will tell you that if we have such statistics in Nigeria, you'll see that Valentine is one of the times that people get this virgin the most, because they are under pressure to prove love to this guy who says, if you love me, you have to sleep with me. Valentine is part of the times when people have unwanted pregnancies. So for the single people, they need to understand what Valentine is. Valentine is not about having sex. Love is beyond sex. So if you're in a relationship with someone, how have you defined your relationship? What are you in this relationship for? And what does Valentine mean to you? If you have a healthy perspective of Valentine, then it will not put the pressure on you. Some people have also been known to steal, such so that they can buy a worthy gift for their loved one. But if you understand that Valentine is just one day in 365 days that you have to express love, if you do not have the means to give that quality gift on this special day, what about the other 364 days? So if you have a healthy perception of love, you will not put yourself under pressure. You would have to explain to the person you are in a relationship with, girl, guy, what does Valentine mean to you? It's our love just for one day, or it's for 365 days. And if you're having the commitment that the relationship is going to be for the long haul, then you want to put your finances in place where you don't just eat everything on a single day and be left wondering for the rest 365 days.
All right, we'll come back to you, but we need to pay some bills. We'll take a very quick commercial break. That's Indomie. And when we get back, I'll be talking more about what you should do and what you shouldn't be doing on Valentine's Day and beyond this day. Let's take that commercial, and of course, one of my favorite songs, Olumi. We'll be right back in a moment. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. I trust you enjoyed that one from Tosin Martin Olumi, and we still have Dean Manwobi and of course Bamidele Agbogun with us here in the studios, and we're looking at beyond Valentine's ways or best ways to express love. Just before the break, we're talking about what unmarried people or single people will tend to do specifically on this particular day, just to keep up with the Joneses and to show that they really love their partner. But then it's beyond that. Like she was saying, we don't have much statistics to show the number of people who get unwanted pregnancies just during this period, and a lot of people who get depressed. Let me talk about the depression now, Bamidele. A lot of people, they feel depressed because they feel it's Valentine's Day. I don't have someone who's going to give me a lot of gifts, who's going to show me love and all of that. And some people feel that it's Valentine's Day. I mean, he should have proposed. Why is he not proposing? Am I even sure I should still be in this relationship? What is happening to me?
What I would advise is this. Just like she said, statistics has proven, based on the US, and to add numbers to what she said, 11,000 actually.
Okay.
Children are conceived on the day of Valentine. But people should not allow it to put them under unnecessary pressure.
Okay.
I would say loving yourself first, I think, is the place to start from. I see people allow this pressure to push them in making such decisions as people who are not feeling loved.
Okay.
There's a void in their heart, and they've, in their own view, the best way to go about this is having somebody help them fill that void. But it's not the case. But you have to look inward. You have to love yourself for who you are. Then it's when you have that love internet, that's when you can actually offer it. So for me, that's the starting point. And therefore, when you have that, Valentine's Day now should not be the platform you will use in engaging in a relationship. So it can either be on the day, if it's coincidental, fine, but it should not be used as the only platform. At the appointed time, you know you are ripe for a relationship and you can hook up to the relationship, but never using it as the basis for making that relationship.
So Uche, don't pressure me on Valentine's Day to propose.
Oh, like seriously, just I'm so coming after you. And I want us to look at it from this selfish angle, where a lot of people think, how do I put it now? I read a book some time ago that spoke about 5 love languages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary Chapman.
Yeah, Gary Chapman.
Yeah, Gary Chapman.
And so, this side of, I'm trying to call it out, like this part where you feel you're showing me love in your own way. And because you're not meeting how I should be loved, I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Okay, so how do we express or explain to people that Valentine is not only about how you want to receive love, but how your the other party wants to express love, be it your father. I mean, I've got nieces and nephews who probably they want chocolate and I'm giving them pen. That's not what they want. Now, how do we explain to people that it's not about what you're giving or not giving what you want, but at least that love is being expressed, then you should appreciate it? Because I think it's a two-way thing. When I'm giving, receiving is also a way of feedback. So how do we explain to people that it's not the time to be selfish? When I mean selfish, I'm not talking about that kind of selfishness that I'm just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about me appreciating whatever this other party is extending to me. And I think this is the reason why a whole lot of people get involved in a whole lot. I mean, ladies giving in to their guys who make them feel like, okay, if you love me enough, you should be able to part your ties for me. So how do you explain to people that Valentine is beyond what you think you should be getting?
Okay.
just like we said that we don't limit the giving of love, the show of love, only within the relationship context. It could also mean to your family members. It could mean to even to somebody out there in the street. It could mean to someone who is less privileged that you want to make an indelible mark in and be able to bring joy and smile to the person's face. Well, let me bring it back to the relationship context as we speak now. If you don't understand the 5 love languages, you might be doing so much and yet your partner might not appreciate you because each person, we are wired differently, and we perceive the giving of love, show of love differently. You know, like you mentioned, the 5 love languages written, the book written by Gary Chapman talks about majorly 5 love languages. Talk about touch, physical touch, talks about words of affirmation, talks about acts of service, quality time, and also
receiving
the
gifts.
And giving of gifts. So if my love language is words of affirmation, how best you show me love is making reinforcement about who I am and validating what I do. Okay. But if you are giving me gifts, it's not that I won't appreciate it. Obviously, I will say thank you, but you won't be getting the best out of my response, like you said, feedback to you. And in a sense, it could also create a problem between a guy and a lady that are in a relationship. So I think it's good when you have a good knowledge of that, then we make do with that. There are a lot of assessment tools that you can use. For somebody watching now, you might not adequately say, or you can not accurately say that you know your own love language. Then I think there are a whole lot of assessment tools that you can use to narrow it down to know which is your own love language, and it helps you together with your partner to give what is your own love, your partner's love language.
Okay, now, Dima, let me ask you from where he stopped. He talked about loving oneself. How do you begin to do that? Because you cannot really express love to others if you don't love or can't love yourself. But how do you begin to love yourself? Is it by, like, maybe on a day like Valentine's Day, you take yourself out and do things for yourself? Or how do you show love to yourself?
Okay. Like he rightly said, love starts from you, and you cannot give love if you do not love yourself. And one thing we need to understand, even as we're celebrating Valentine, is that no one can love you without your permission. So you must be lovable, and for you to be lovable, it starts from you. And so self-love is nurturing yourself. Self-love is cultivating yourself, your body, your soul, and your mind. So what are those things that fits you? What are those things that gives you the push? What are those things that excite you? You have to, on your own, begin to do those things. And like she rightly said, self-love starts first from the mind. A lot of people are at the point where they think they are not lovable. A lot of people are at the point where probably they've been in past relationships, or they've had some significant emotional experiences that has stifled the love in them, or people may have abused them. And so in their mind, in their psyche, I'm not somebody that can be loved. So the healing has to start from there. You have to face your fears, you have to face your insecurities, you have to call it what it is. And if you may need therapy to walk you through that, you will do yourself good if you enroll with a certified therapist, because it has to be from within. First of all, when you've addressed it from within, then what are those things? Sometimes you ask people, how do you rejuvenate? How do you relax? Some people cannot come up with tangible ways that they understand that themselves refuel, and that's a concern, because everyone should know how you want to relax. Everyone should know how you want to rejuvenate, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with you taking yourself out. That is why having a me time is critical for your sanity to remain. Having a me time is critical for you to love yourself so that people can see you to be loved. A lot of people are in relationships where they are being abused because you're bringing out the front to say, I'm abusable. You can do with me whatever you wish, because you do not present yourself as someone that has self-worth. So self-love starts from self-worth, and please find what refuels you and do it. If what refuels you is visiting the spa, save up money and go give yourself a treat in the spa. You don't need a man, you don't need a woman to take you out. If you want to self-love yourself, you can go to the restaurant, order for the best meals, sit down there and eat it by yourself.
All right, well said.
I'm sure Justin is taking notes. But on this note, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we'll be looking at maybe forgiveness when it comes to love. Stay tuned. That's what I mean.
All right, welcome back. We're just chit-chatting here in the studios. When you talk about love, man, Uche knows no stop at all. We're just talking about gifting, communicating, and the love languages. We need to talk more about this love language for people who really don't understand.
Like just
most people don't even know their love language, and you tend to want to give out gifts to people, and they don't really want to give. They want you to spend more time. Can't you just say, I don't want gift, I want you to spend time with me? Can't you just say that?
That's what the most basic way of getting to know how your partner wants to be loved is by talking, it's by communicating. You see, assumption is the mother of frustration. Yeah. A lot of people assume a lot of things, and then you won't blame them because probably that's the level of education that they have gotten. And by education, I'm not saying sitting within the four walls of a school. I'm saying the awareness that they have, the exposure they've come. And society also contributes to that, because you hear, oh, women like this, men like that. There are no generalized stuff about love that are gender-based. Okay. People want to be loved in different ways, be it man or woman. And so it's important that if you're in a relationship, you should communicate with your spouse to know how your spouse wants to be loved. Okay. Because each and every one of us are bankers. Now, not the money we have deposited in any of the commercial banks, but inside of us, we have a love bank. And we become fulfilled and feel loved depending on if the deposits in our love bank, it's more than the withdrawals. So for every time you're loving your partner the way he wants to be loved, you're making deposits in your partner's love bank. And that person would naturally want to reciprocate and make deposits into yours. So it's important that you communicate that. And like Dele said, there are tools that you can use to find out what the love language of your spouse is, and then begin to speak it. Because we have a lot of people. I was with a couple recently, and the wife told me, I know my husband's love language. Now it's not in the knowing, it's how have you committed to speaking it? How have you committed to doing it? So some of us just know those love strategies in our heads, but we're not taking any deliberate moves to ensure that we're loving our spouses that way. And that could be one of the frustrations that people are facing in relationships.
Okay, I'd like us to look at the role of forgiveness in all this when it comes to love. Let's talk about forgiveness in all this.
Okay. To forgive, you know, when you first love yourself, just like we've discussed earlier, and in the event, maybe we'll narrow it down to parties in the relationship here now, and maybe you are hurt due to whatever reason it is. I must say it's usually very difficult to forgive, naturally speaking, and that's why we all have to come to this realization that love should be a nature, love should be a lifestyle, and if is one of our nature, we should understand that it's not premised on what I get from you because of what I do for you. It's premised on however it is, unconditionally. I do something for you, and if I'm hurt, if your relationship is founded on a firm love, you will always make justification. I must say this, you will always make justification for the actions your partner took in hurting you. I remember when I was still in relationships, and I think let's make it very real here, because when I was in a relationship, you know, I was crazy about my wife now that we'll be married now for, I think this will be the 16th year now. Whoa. And
congratulations.
Okay, we were crazily in love with each other, and the motive for our loving each other was based on an unconditional premise. And fine, we will offend each other once in a while. Even sometimes the offense could even be deeper, whereby it will take a while before. But on the premise where forgiveness can actually thrive is to have genuine love for your partner, and to be able to make justification for every action the person is taking. I tell people that if you successfully move your gaze from the act and look at the intention, it will always help your perspective. Because why your partner acted that way to hurt you, if you look at it, with the people I've spoken to, at least a quite number of people, I realize that the intentions most of the time are usually genuine and is for the interest and the good of the relationship. How this person now go about it is a totally different ballgame altogether. But when you look at the intention behind any action taken that hurts you, then it gives you that opportunity to be able to forgive.
Okay. All right. Before we continue, just to remind you that you can be a part of on this conversation. It is very interactive. You can send us an SMS on the number now scrolling or now being displayed on your screen, or interact with us via our various social media platforms using the hashtag Galaxy Today. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, or on Instagram. Let us know what your love language is. How do you communicate it? And what are the best ways to express and show love this Valentine's season, and of course beyond today? We'll be very, very interested in reading and sharing as you share with us. Yeah.
Okay, so on my own partner, I've just been so much on Justin. I was thinking today we're going to walk to her office and then just, you know, engage her today.
Oh,
and it's been giving
Cinderella
me...
tale. I get it.
Okay, like seriously. I mean, before we went on break, and then we were talking about why do people think they're not ready? Are they scared of commitment, or could they be maybe a stab they got in the past? And I'm trying to help Justin's case because I don't know why Justin isn't getting married.
Justin is not married.
Yet he isn't married, but I'm sure it will happen this year. So I want us to look at that.
So Uche, you are setting a wedding date for Justin?
I have already. I'm going to plan his wedding. I told him.
Oh, really? Really?
All right, Valentine's Day.
Let's talk about, because some people ask, they don't know how to be ready. How do you help them to be ready, to be committed, even if it's not marriage, for relationship's sake? There's just this fear somewhere, or they think I must have everything.
Enjoy their singleness as it is.
Okay, oh, come on, Justin.
No, I'm
Not
just saying,
until
some
the
people,
hairs go
you
grey
just feel
before,
that before I can actually manage a relationship, let me just enjoy my singleness or singlehood. Let me be able to understand myself before I can actually understand someone else and better accommodate them and get a family.
But I'm coming from the angle where
okay,
this person wants to be
sexes.
involved.
I get it now.
No. You want to be involved now, but then maybe somehow you don't know if you're ready. You don't know how to be ready. Okay. How do you help such people?
Maybe I should say this, my own personal story, so it might help someone that is out there. I always love sharing this with people I counsel to let people know that you don't need everything to be ready.
No, you don't.
But you have to pay attention to your being psychologically mature and also spiritually mature. You have to be willing to take responsibility. Okay? And when we talk about people, so we target more on men, though that another definition of a man is responsibility, although it's equally applicable to women. But you don't need everything to be ready. And when I was starting out, I remember I was using what I inherited from my elder sister's place that I was staying with to move into my own apartment, a glorified apartment, a room and parlor, glorified, face my face within our own context here in Nigeria. And that was where I started from. And I found myself in a relationship, and all that I had was what we moved in with. But we now, at the point of marriage, we move into a 2-bedroom that still have everything that I have as a single. And for 3 years, we didn't add a single item into that house. But all of this will not happen if you are not psychologically mature. And so in defining whether someone is ready or not, you ask yourself, because it might not be adequately explained here now, but there's this knowing in you. And you need to really gauge yourself and ask yourself candidly and be very objective. Is it out of fear? Is it because of fear that I'm not willing to take this step? Because I was at that point, at a time. we had to shift even the wedding date twice because I was looking at my finances and I was looking at what would be. And at the point, there's this knowing in me that, and I said, what I have is enough and suffice for the two of us with our own combination. At least we started out from there, and she's also willing, because it's important that we communicate. It's important that we discuss all of these things together. Now you're asking yourself, my interests and her interests, are they in sync? Where I'm heading in life, what I want to be in life, is it in sync with this? But that's where adequate communication is very, very critical in this regard. So with your communication with your partner, you can tell that it's something you can both walk your way through. And we were like that for 3 years before we ever got an item into the house. And we are happily married. And we are still very so much in tune with each other.
I can tell. Dima, you want to ask?
I want to add something. Yes, and I'm going to take what Dilly said, but I'll take it a bit further. That if to prepare for marriage, you need to tell yourself the truth. And what truth is this? That are you ready to die every day?
Die every day?
Yes, because only
physical death, so that we don't scare him.
I will express it. I will explain what I mean. Okay. Because only dead people.
I don't want to die.
only yes. Are you ready to die every day? Because in marriage, it's about us.
Sacrifice.
There is no me in marriage. So are you willing? Have you come to that awareness where you're really willing to share your life for the good of us, not me? That's one. Then there are two critical questions I ask every single who is preparing for marriage to try to find answers to, even as they're getting into marriage. That will help them know how prepared they are for this journey. What does marriage mean to you? Because if you do not understand what marriage means, you could be going into it for the wrong reasons, and there are a lot of reasons why people go into marriage. Some go into marriage as a way to prove to people that have arrived. That may not be enduring enough to the end. Some go into marriage out of pressure. Some go into marriage because, oh, I finished school and that's the next best thing to do, and a lot of many reasons. So you need to understand why you're getting into marriage.
Okay.
Why are you marrying this person you want to marry? Those are two fundamental questions that will help you know how prepared you are. Because marriage is the coming together of two people from different nations to form a new nation.
All right, Dima, there's a question maybe I should just ask you. It's still about marriage and about love. Since we're talking about Valentine's Day, it's all embracing. When you talk about love and marriage, it should culminate in marriage over time. This one is asking, is it advisable to marry someone you don't love, even after 4 years of being with the person, you still don't love him, and now your parents want you to marry him because of what people will say about them if you marry someone else and you're not happy with the relationship?
Okay, so that question just is kind of coming at the time where we're talking about reasons why people marry. So the reason that the person is asking is that the parents are saying you should marry this person for what people will say. Now, it's important that you understand that if you're in this marriage, you're not in the marriage with people. You are in this marriage with the person. So you need to know, is this person someone I want to spend the rest of my life with? Let me tell you something. Whether you do good, people will talk. If you do bad, people will talk. There is absolutely nothing you're going to do that you will please people. So the moment you begin to understand that you first of all are living for yourself, it will put you in a good frame of mind to make a decision. So now I'm not going to tell the person what to do, but I've told you the perspective of what the person should consider. And when talking about love, she asked, should I marry somebody I'm not in love with? I would, if I had a contact with that person, I would want to ask her, why have you been in this relationship for 4 years when you're not in love with the person, when you're not seeing a future with the person? Because many times people waste their years. And it could be for many reasons. It could even be parental pressure, now that she's saying that parents are pressuring her. So I would want to know why you're in that relationship for 4 years if you're not seeing any future in it. It's about time that you need to ask yourself, what are you in this relationship with? Why do you want to get married to this person? And begin to make decisions that will empower her to do the right thing.
Can I quickly just add
some more messages?
You have an idea of where you are heading in life. You have an idea of the kind of career choices you are going to make, if you are going to go into ministry, if you are going to go into what kind of business. then that's why when you engage in communication, these are things that you're going to bring up. You talk about them, talk about your social life, you're going to talk about your spiritual life, you're going to talk about your physical life, you're going to talk about your career goals and the map that you have created for yourself. That's where you know that you are sharing similar interests. That's when you can get to know that you are having a kind of connection, and it's a connection that will bring that knowing I was talking about earlier on, to know that I am in the right place. You don't get into marriage for people's opinion. It's for yourself.
Not at all.
Okay. Some messages. Uche, this one is for you. I don't know if I should. I'll just quote verbatim. Why is she putting on red and green instead of red and white? What's it with people and Valentine colors?
Oh dear!
That's what my designer made for me.
You know, people it's still that thing of flowing with the Joneses and all of that. You could decide. Uche is looking beautiful and gorgeous today, so she doesn't have to put on white and red. If you want to put that on to flow with the trend, it's okay. But who says you can't do something different? You know, yesterday Facebook reminded me of a post I did about this time last year, where I was telling someone, go there yourself, wear purple and orange, who cares? Just be yourself. The important thing is that you're living your life and enjoying who you are. So to that person, I don't think Uche is doing any badly with her outfit.
So Uche is rocking her dress very well. Okay, this one says, Babatunde Alawa, Valentine's Day celebrate altruistic love, but that's been hijacked by society to mean sexual lust. Lady Uche, you look very gorgeous. Regards, Chief Justin. And your special, well, okay, and your special guest.
Why did you read that part one kind?
Oh my goodness. Hello, good morning, lovely people. But why are you guys not putting on Valentine clothes?
We've addressed that. We are the new Valentine.
Exactly.
A lot of people are sending shout out. I'm sure you'll be able to do that and watch and party time between 2 and 4, and you can send your shout out specifically on that show. I can take shout out and I can take requests on the show today. So if you just want to communicate with us as to how Valentine's Day should be celebrated, or what you think Valentine's Day should be about, please do so, and we will be taking your messages in as much as Uche is looking very lovely.
Thank you.
Justin, I wanted to say something.
Yes, please do.
When we're talking about forgiveness, Dele did a wonderful thing talking about it from the perspective he came on. But I needed to add that a lot of times we're quick to tell people that forgive and forget. Some of us quote scripture to say forgive 70 times, 7 times, and all of that. We must understand that forgiveness is a process. And each person should be allowed to walk their journey of forgiveness. If I could forgive maybe a husband who cheats on me easily than another person would, that is not for me to use my own term of reference to say, after all, Mrs. A forgave, you should forgive. No, everyone is a unique journey. Everyone has different criteria for how wrongs rank in their life. A wrong could high 10% in my life, for some other person is 90, and the person is okay with ranking at 90. So what I ask that when we're talking forgiveness, we should allow people go the journey, take it step by step. Yes, it's good to forgive, but forgive may not be instantaneous for everyone. And so if it's going to be a journey for the person, can we provide support for that person to go through the journey? And something that could also help relationships in forgiveness is what he talked about, having a common vision. There was once a couple who had an issue of the husband cheating on the couple, on the spouse, and it was a global news. And people expected that the wife was going to throw in the towel and walk out of the marriage. But when she was asked, she said there was somewhere they were heading to, that they had agreed in the marriage, that was bigger for her than the wrong that her husband may have committed, that society thought it was the end of the marriage. So sometimes if couples have a common vision that they are heading to, the big picture kind of serves as a guide in you letting go of what I call distractions, or those external things that want to stop you from achieving the big goal. So it's important that you articulate what is our common vision and where we are headed in this relationship.
And this would help those who are who are yet to be married, probably those in a relationship and those about to be married.
Yes.
Just in a hope you're taking note.
Yeah,
Just
wanted
the
to add them, Dilly. Yeah.
Yes, I want to add that sometimes you don't have to deal with this all by yourself.
Okay.
There are counselors, qualified counselors that you can talk to. They will give perspectives for you to know that what you are calling a big issue is actually trivial matters. So that can also help.
Rosemary wants to find out, is it possible to love at first sight?
At first sight.
Yes.
Everything is possible and anything is possible.
Okay.
So for Rosemary, what does Rosemary understand as love? Because first of all, I always come to, everyone has a personalized definition of love. And I say to me, love is a decision to support you. Love is a decision to see to your nurturing, to be an encouragement for you to be the best that you can be. So if Rosemary shares a similar definition with me, then love at first sight is possible.
All
so
right.
it all depends.
Okay, this one says, Madam on ma'am with glasses, you talk so true, and Auntie Uche, you look gorgeous, and I love your sentence. My designer made this for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, as we begin to wrap up right now. Okay, fine. Expressing love, the best way one can handle that. What if I don't have money to gift anybody and I really want to show love and for instance, I'm not gifting you today, so
I'm not even expecting you to gift me.
Uche, let me alone, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Can you talk?
No, go ahead. I've been listening to you. Just
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, don't give me that you're paying attention. Look. Okay, what if you don't really have enough money to gift your loved one and they just want to make this particular season special to them so they can be memorable, to know that, let them know for always that you are always in their thought and you love them and all that. What are the best ways you can do that alternatively?
First and foremost, I would say we should not focus more on the size of the gift. We should focus more on the thought behind the gift. For me to have come up with an idea that I'm getting something for you, it means you've always been on my mind. Recently, I'm talking with as husband and wife now, but how much is the rose that I bought? Maybe 500 naira. And
I just love rose.
it goes, it went a long way to really touch us. So mine is, you don't have money. Let's even assume that you don't even have a dime.
Okay.
You have words. Words are sometimes even more powerful than, especially if your partner now happens to be someone whose love language is words of affirmation. Okay. But even if your love language is not words of affirmation, there's nobody that doesn't love being valued, having the sense of value and belonging to you. So if you don't even have it, be sincere in your commendation, how much that person meant to you. And I can tell you it will go a long way.
Yeah, didn't know you.
You know, like Dele said, we'll be frank here. The money you have goes a long way to how elaborate you can express love. So it's important that people should, even as you're building loving relationships, get concerned about their finances.
Yeah, true.
And that's one. Then two, at the point where you are and you do not have that much money to express the love as elaborately as you wish, I would say that you can love your spouse in other ways that are not monetary.
Yeah.
And those three questions that I asked people to ask today may be a good way. Everyone wants to be loved. And if you're in a relationship with someone who understands your current financial realities, then the person will not be making so much pressure on you to overburden yourself to give a gift. But can you pledge your commitment to support this person today? Can you ask your partner, what is dying in you because you're in a relationship with me?
Can I propose to a man? Sally is asking very quickly in 30 seconds.
Okay, who is that?
Sally,
a lady asking?
a lady, yes.
What is marriage? Proposal is the first entry into a marriage relationship, right? And so human beings marry. So in my perspective, human beings can propose.
Okay, be you a man or a woman.
It might not be common here because it's a more tethered to a cultural thing.
Roses
but the fact that it's not common doesn't negate it or make it wrong.
Wrong, exactly.
All right. Now, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been one very interesting discussion.
It has been. I saw Justin just typing. He's going to send a very romantic one to her tonight. Whatever
and I would like
Justin,
to be invited to Justin's wedding when it's happening.
From
what has happened today, Justin should be on his way to pop in that big question.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can accompany you.
Like we said, we shouldn't be pressured too.
Oh my word. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I mean, we had Dim Mountain will be married and relationship therapist, as well as Bami Daily Agbogu, a counselor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And of course, Justin, whose day is going to be long, but then very interesting, because I'm going to be here to make it very, very interesting.
Interesting in quotes. Yeah. I get
Do not forget to show love. It doesn't have to be your partner alone. To anyone who deserves to be loved, okay? We'll do this same time again tomorrow. I am Uche Onyekolije. To have a splendid day ahead.
And just to wish Pastor Kennedy Nwachukwu happy birthday. This is from Austin Ozuzu, and he's saying happy birthday